Hey, welcome back, everyone. Meteorologist Danielle Grant here in the 9 News Weather Center. Thanks so much for joining us on Facebook. You know, if you have any questions about the forecast, feel free to drop a comment and I'll get to them at the end of my forecast. But wow, do we have a lot to get into? We have a really interesting weather pattern that's going to be setting up for us tomorrow. Critical, extreme high fire danger going across much of eastern Colorado as we're watching a storm system push into the state, plus the possibility of some severe storms across the far eastern border of our state into western Kansas. And then up in the mountains, they're going to get ready for some rain and possibly some snowfall too. So let's dive in. Today marks day 17 in a row with red flag warnings going across Colorado. This is record breaking. We have not seen this really within the past about 15 years or so since our records started being kept, I should say, as far as red flag warnings are concerned. So here we go. And it's just a little early in the season, mid-April, as we're still looking at incredibly dry conditions and, of course, the wild winds coming our way yet again. If you've been outside this afternoon, you probably felt a bit of a breeze. East of I-25, the winds are the worst. We do have red flag warnings in place today, those primarily into southern Colorado and then out to the western slope. And then tomorrow, these red flag warnings go back into effect. That's when the Denver metro area up to Boulder and Larimer County, and then all the way off to the eastern plains, will be looking at high fire danger 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. tomorrow. And again, the worst of it really is going to be kind of this bullseye, so to speak, La Honda up through Lyman, Burlington, the eastern plains, looking at wind gusts upwards of 60 miles per hour. Wouldn't be surprised, the Denver area, especially if you live just on the eastern side of town, you could be looking at some of those stronger winds. South central Colorado around Pueblo through Trinidad, Walsenburg, Alamosa, if you live in the San Luis Valley, 75 mile per hour wind gusts possibly coming your way tomorrow. And then out to the western slope, wind gusts upwards of 40 miles per hour. So I know a lot of folks are thinking, gosh, is this a setup that's really similar to what we saw on December 30th and when the Marshall Fire broke out? So I want to kind of break it down for you with some good news and bad news. Good news first. Always, right? The wind's not quite as strong as what we saw during the Marshall Fire. During the Marshall Fire, especially around the Boulder area, we were looking at wind gusts between 90, 100 miles per hour. Just unprecedented around here. They will not be that strong. Also some good news, those winds should be backing off by about sunset, 7, 8 o'clock. Also, we have some slightly lower fire danger, especially north of the Denver metro area. So that is also a bit of good news. All right, we got to talk about the bad news too. Temperatures are going to be obviously much warmer than where we were at on December 30th. In fact, these temperatures tomorrow are going to be running about 20 to 25 degrees above our seasonal averages. Plus, incredibly dry conditions will be atop Colorado ahead of that next storm. So this means humidity values will be basically between about 5 to 10%. And with that being said, the higher sun angle we now have here in April allows our fuels to dry out even faster compared to what we were looking at throughout the month of December. So kind of a compare and contrast. The wind should be a little bit better, but the heat and low humidity certainly will be against us tomorrow. All right, back to today. 40 mile per hour wind gusts just charging across DIA, getting pretty blustery around Centennial as well as Monument Hill. The eastern plains dealing with 30 to 40 plus mile per hour wind gusts. And the 70s really are going to be here to stay today. And then we're talking 80s on deck tomorrow. We're in the 70s out east, even up into the high country. A pretty mild afternoon, too, with these numbers sitting in the 60s out there. The winds are sustained out of the south-southeast at 26 miles per hour out at DIA. We're in the low 70s for now, but I anticipate us jumping into the upper 70s by this afternoon, at least here in the city. More 70s out east with some mid to upper 60s into the high country. Not a ton going on HD Doppler 9 right now. You know it's dry out there. But here comes our next storm system. This guy that is churning off the west coast is going to be inching closer to Colorado. As it does, it creates a really tight pressure gradient between this area of high pressure and that area of low pressure. The closer they get, the faster the winds go, and that's exactly the scenario that we're anticipating looking at on deck tomorrow afternoon especially. Tonight, mostly clear. The wind's still breezy, 10 to 30 miles per hour. But temperatures should be pretty mild, only falling into the mid to upper 30s, some 40s here for the city, and then a little cooler up into the high country. This evening across HD Doppler 9, we're not going to see much. We do have some moisture that's pulling in from the south. Far eastern Colorado might find a couple of sprinkles overnight, but they will be few and far between. By tomorrow morning, it's a dry beginning to this day, but by about 4 or 5 o'clock, here comes that storm system barreling in. The western slope first, getting in on the action with some scattered rain showers, some snowfall later tomorrow night along those higher peaks. Could see a couple of inches stack up out there. This is again 11 o'clock. The clouds have pushed in, the winds have backed off, and then we'll be tracking the potential for seeing some rain showers coming our way on Saturday. So finally a bit of relief, but we have to wait a day and we have to get through tomorrow. And all of these ingredients that Mother Nature is throwing our way, another one of them, being the fact that we could be looking at some severe storms. Folks that live off to the far extreme edge of eastern Colorado are under that marginal threat for seeing severe storms. Everywhere in yellow, primarily Nebraska and Kansas, looking at a slight risk, enhanced the further east you travel. So high pressure around, it starts scooting off to the east, but as this storm system gets closer, that pressure gradient tightens. We'll be looking at those fierce winds coming our way tomorrow. So not only do we have the red flag warning in effect for tomorrow with the high fire danger, we also are looking at this high wind watch in effect. So this will include the Denver area and then stretch off to the eastern plains. Keep in mind, trees could be down with these strong winds. Power lines could be down, blowing dust out there, limiting visibility. So it's just going to be a messy day. If you don't have to travel east of the Denver area tomorrow, don't do it. If you don't have to, don't do it, because it's going to be a mess. This is our wind gust forecast. I'm going to actually start it off right now. And you'll notice, yes, it's breezy across the state, but not bad. 9 o'clock, still okay. Tomorrow morning, 10:30, 11 a.m., we're starting to see these winds picking up here in the city. Winds especially starting to go into southern Colorado. And then as the afternoon and early evening wear on, when really the worst of it, wind-wise, timing-wise, 2 to 6 p.m. is what I'm looking at. We're going to be looking at 40 to 50, 60 mile per hour wind gusts coming in from the southwest ahead of that next cold front and ahead of that storm system that will be pushing into the state. Like I mentioned, the heat, it's on 83, hot and incredibly windy around here as we're tracking extreme fire danger really for much of eastern Colorado. So you know the drill. We've unfortunately been through this before. Excuse me. Get a go bag ready. You know, all those important things that you want to take just in case you are evacuated. It's better to be prepared, right? And have everything ready to go so you can get to safety. Tomorrow is going to be one of those days that we really, really, really need to be vigilant. 90 degrees tomorrow afternoon in Burlington and Lamar. We stay in the low to mid 80s here for the metro area. Still mild up in the mountains until the later afternoon when that storm system barrels right on in. We'll stay in the 80s around Littleton through Aurora, Erie at 81, 86 in Greeley with some mid 60s in Estes Park. So here's the 7-day forecast for you. And of course, relief is on the way. Temperature wise, humidity wise, that's going to increase. Precipitation wise, as we look ahead towards Saturday and Sunday. I know, I even put a little snowflake on there, especially if you live further to the south, Castle Rock, Palmer Divide. You might see a couple flakes late Sunday night. Nothing major, but you know, we could. And then as we look ahead toward next week, here we go again with the heat as we're winding down the month of April. The heat and low humidity making a comeback for us. Excuse me. I am just recovering from a cold, but I am on Facebook and I am going to try to get to all of your questions if I can. Hello, Seth. How's it going? Kathy, hi. Steve, hello. Einar. What's going on? I'm doing okay today. Marianne, hi from Summit County. You guys probably getting some snowfall late tomorrow night into the weekend. Hi, Walter. Oh, nicest day of the year in Bailey. I'm hoping the wind has simmered down up there for you guys. Okay. Oh, Amy joining us from Wisconsin. All right, not quite as windy up there as what we're looking at. Yes, Colorado is the best. Tyler asking about Loveland, excuse me. Will Loveland get hit by the winds tomorrow? Yep, Loveland is going to get in on the action too. I will say areas east of I-25 will have stronger winds, but around the Loveland area, easily 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts a possibility. The worst timing of it between about 2 and 6 p.m. Nick. Glass half full about what's to come tomorrow. Yeah, with the good news, bad news scenario. Yep. A little windy in Westminster. Yeah, tomorrow is going to be a day. Tyler asking about how much rain in the Loveland Fort Collins area. Not a lot. I mean, I wish I could say it's going to be, nonstop rain, but it looks hit or miss, maybe 1/10 of an inch if you're lucky. Yes, Karen, of course, happy to help, happy to give folks just like a heads up on what's coming our way. Corey created this graphic this morning. I'll show you. This is the fire weather outlook that the National Weather Service puts out, and I think it really is interesting. Oh, it does. Okay, this is different from this morning. They've expanded the extreme fire risk to now include the city of Denver and up to Broomfield, it looks like, as well as, the majority of folks east of I-25. So kind of just keep that in mind. I mean, it's just going to be a bad day as far as the wind goes. There's no sugarcoating this. You know me, I'm always kind of a glass half full kind of person looking for the bright side of things. And tomorrow just isn't going to be one of those days. Again, the red flag warnings going out tomorrow at 9 a.m. They'll continue through the evening. Wind gusts 60 to 75 miles per hour east of I-25. 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts possible in the foothills in Boulder through Larimer counties. This is just kind of what you guys got to know. If you are going to be out and about, you're going to be traveling in the car, blowing dust, tumbleweeds, you're off on the eastern plains, it's going to be tricky. Low visibility, would not be surprised if we do see some roads shut down. I-70 usually shuts down at Lyman, maybe even just outside of DIA too, when the winds get this bad and you just can't see. So keep that in mind. If you do have any travel plans for tomorrow, like I said, have the go bag ready just in case, right? Always better to be prepared than not in a situation like this. I feel like a lot of us, even if we didn't live in Boulder, Superior, Louisville during the Marshall Fire, our hearts just broke for those people. But that could be really any of us. Any community here around the Denver metro area could be looking at a similar situation like that tomorrow if we get one spark. You factor in wind gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour. Mother Nature is taking those flames and running with it. So we have to be vigilant, and tomorrow is going to be a day where everyone just has to be weather aware. And so I will get off my soapbox, but I am just concerned, and I want everyone to have all the knowledge possible about the weather that is coming our way. So with that, if you have any questions for me, yes, I know, Tyler, we need the rain so bad. So fingers crossed we do actually just get dumped on Saturday and Sunday. Wouldn't that be lovely, right? If you guys do have any more questions for me, you can find me Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at the WX Woman. You can email me to danielle.grant@9news.com, and I'll try to get back to you. I will be back here tomorrow, same time, same place, and we'll be dealing with these wild winds. Enjoy the rest of your day.